What's going on, everybody? Quancredible here. After our break from Black Clover, we're back at it with chapter 216. This one came out at a weird time, so I couldn't get the review up, but it's here now. So getting right into it, it starts off literally right after Julius's predictions in the last chapter, with him ending off on Asta might die. And of course, Asta, being the main character that we all know, is absolutely freaking out over it. And Julius starts to delve into this by telling him and everyone in the room that the black power that he uses comes from a devil, which, to like Asta's shock, he didn't know this. He did not know that the power he was using was from a devil or something like that monster that they just fought. He mentioned that he knew it had a similar presence but didn't really make that connection, which makes me wonder if devils have weird ki. Like, I feel like they should have had similar ki, so he should have been able to kind of tell, but it's okay. Also, it's kind of funny because shortly after that, Yami's kind of throwing some shade, telling Asta to get back. He doesn't want any of his nasty devilness, which I don't know if that's just that translation, but I thought that was pretty funny when I first read it. Julius then begins to talk more about the form itself, saying that he gets the black horns. The black horn is like a symbol of a person stepping into the realm of forbidden spells, like a different world that's not connected to their own. It's a curse. And I'm not for sure if this is how the official is going to pronounce it, but it looks like it's Ve or Vo, something along those lines. I mean, if you know what it is, please tell me. And then this next part is like the most interesting part of the chapter for me. Like, for me personally, Nero comes up and says within Asta's five-leaf grimoire that the devil failed to acquire is a separate devil. Now, right then and there, she just casually announces that Asta has a five-leaf clover grimoire, and like no one has any reaction. It doesn't show a reaction. I felt like we should have got, because Asta never even noticed. Like, if you guys remember way back in chapter 1, I'll put up a picture of it. Asta didn't even notice he had a five-leaf clover grimoire, nor did anyone else. Like, only like the like grimoire master and maybe Julius had any inkling that Asta had a really special grimoire. I mean, granted, Julius saying that he was using like a devil's power might have been kind of a connection for other people in the story, but like, for at least someone in this room should have been shocked, I guess. I don't understand why no one was shocked by this. But anyway, she just begins to talk about how she also got horns too from using forbidden magic, and that it's actually kind of cool though, because she can change like back and forth between like Nero and like her Cersei or Circe form. So then after this, Julius begins to delve more into the other countries a bit more. We actually get to see like more of a kind of overall glimpse of the kingdoms, as he says a bit about it. He mentions how the Diamond Kingdom has a powerful army and is a very militant nation. He talks about how the Heart Kingdom has their own unique style of magic and has mostly remained unexplored and neutral. And he also brings up the Spade Kingdom, which is in the up north, where it's really cold. They have lots of land, and he says the demon nation of the spade. Now, this is another thing. I don't know if this is just this translation. We'll have to wait for the official. But if it is actually is a demon nation, I wonder, like, is there a race of demons there? Do they cooperate with them? Like, what exactly do they mean by that? And then Julius also begins to talk about how like other nations, like the diamond and the spade, are beginning to expand their borders or extend their influence. So like, what's really important about this is, if you remember earlier in the series when the Diamond Kingdom attempted to expand a bit into the Clover Kingdom, when like 3 of those generals went to attack Keaton, if something like that were to happen right now, the Clover Kingdom really wouldn't be able to do much about it, just because a lot of their manpower would have to be focused in on protecting the capital. So like, I mean, you don't want to send most of your force out to some remote side town and leave your capital kind of like unguarded. And I feel like other nations would have to be semi-aware of this through like maybe like spies or just keeping up on world events. So it's one of those things like the Clover Kingdom is in a really messed up spot. And then after that, Yami brings up a really good point that I really only remember Josuke saying. I haven't really seen anybody else talk about it, but he's saying how because of the reincarnation, even if it was just for a moment, there are plenty of people that had to fight each other as enemies, which could lead to some really awkward moments, which is very true. Like, just a second ago, you were fighting people, and now, like, everyone's back to normal. Like, there are people who have been forced to kill their comrades. Like, they were forced to kill them. Their bodies were taken over, and they could probably see each other, you know, killing people. Like the Compass chick, she murdered tons of servants. Like, I don't think she's gonna sleep too well at night knowing that she did that. Which goes back to Julius and saying that in order to protect the kingdom, we can't afford to lose any knights. Then Asta brings up a point that I've said a lot of times with like no one really did anything wrong, everybody's being possessed by elves, and then even all of that was because of the devil. Which is true, like everything that happened like from the beginning of the story that had to do with the elves was really set up by the devil. So nothing is really anybody's fault per se except for his. Including William. But Julius brings up that the Magic Congress or Council, depending on the adaptation that you read, will likely condemn the devil's power. So the Asta being a peasant and the one who uses the devil's power, Julius believes he would be a suitable scapegoat. Which, when you think about it, like just how big countries work, they need something to blame things on. It's like as a nation, you can't like blame that. But Asta, they might actually just condemn his power because he is using a devil's power. So the council might actually get him, and then we learn that the council is ran by the House of Kira, which at that moment we get to see a little bit of stuff between Seki and the actual king, which is pretty funny. We haven't seen either one of them. Good comedy relief. Seki might be regarded as like a hero after all this just because he was able to save the king. But it turns out there were a few Eye of the Midnight Sun people still roaming around. And just as they're about to like kill Seki and the king, this new guy pops up. Now, we don't really know much about him at all. The only things that we do know is it looks like so the scale he uses may be some type of balance magic or something along those lines. All I know is it made the Eye of Midnight Sun members' magic smaller. Like, I don't know what that is. The only other things we know is that according to Seki, he has an immense amount of mana. This one isn't really confirmed, but it's just a personal opinion of mine. I personally believe he is a member of the Kira family. Like, because the only members that we know about it would be the king and the Nest. So we don't really know anything about other members of the family. So I believe this guy, I'm gonna say his name wrong. That's just how it's gonna be. But Daminato, Naito, whatever. I think he's a member of the Kira family. And then it ends off with showing his face and saying that he will judge anybody evil and who is devil possessed. So it definitely sounds like this guy would directly come for Asta in these next couple chapters. So that basically wraps it all up. Now, like, things that I took away from this is I guess this in between stuff until we get into our next big arc will probably be how the Magic Council decides to deal with Asta using, the powers of a devil. Like, it would be really interesting to see how that is going to play out. I know a lot of people were really pumped up for the nations, but I wanted like more information. Like, granted, they did show us a little shot of each, nation in itself. But like, if you read the guidebooks or just like really pay attention to the story, they really didn't say anything new. They really didn't introduce too much new information in terms of that. I mean, outside of the demon nation of Spade, but again, that didn't really give us much, and I don't even know if that's still how it's going to be after the official translation. So all in all, this chapter was a huge info dump and a really good one after the break and the extremely short chapter that was 215. Let me know what you guys' predictions are and where you think the story is going to go next. What do you think of this guy's magic? Outside of that, I will catch you guys in my next video.